All right, so we've got our eyes on Nasdaq for now. We've got our eyes on Nasdaq. I was on the gold trade, but I think it took me out. I was in here, scaled out at the top. Then I was trailing with a break even, but it took me out there. So I don't think I will chase it, but let's see. Okay, German 40, something is cooking. Something which is looking like a buy is cooking on German 40. Hold, I might get back in above this. All right. So let's see. My main focus is Nasdaq though. So we're anticipating a lot of traps, like we said. We have a couple of fundamental events going on just now in the next 3 hours. Like after every hour, there's something happening in USA. So I'm anticipating a lot of volatility, and you just have to exercise extreme patience with these setups. So let's see what's happening with German 40 here. Okay, if German 40 gives me what I want to see, I'm going to buy. What I want to see is one of those four candles right on the 13 EMA. We've already figured that we've hit some points of interest on the H1. As you can see, the 50% fib retracement, H1 hit this support level as well. And if we can come and close back above the 13, then we'll definitely get a nice buy here on German 40. So Nasdaq, we are looking for a potential sell. So we've got a nice candlestick forming right now. Okay, let's just go to MT5. Right, we're just going to have to be patient. Like we said, it's either we wait for the current H1 to close, because right now nothing is too clean, especially on Nasdaq. Nothing is too clean there. M15 looks good on Nasdaq. Pin bar, that's definitely a sell, guys. I'm going to enter one sell on Nasdaq. I'll update the setup for you just now. But let me show you. Okay, this is my first attempt to go short on Nasdaq. Okay, I've got one position here. What's going to show us that we are actually bearish? So you see, I'm using this pin bar retesting on the 13 EMA for my entry. The center chart is the Nasdaq. So yeah, I'm using this 3-minute pin bar as an entry. So Nasdaq is the only one looking like it's got potential to play out right now. But I'd also be happy trading the PM session, because the PM session, when it happens, most of the fundamental events will be done. So I feel like all the stop hands will be done as well, and we will be able to pick a nice direction. So I think for now, this will be the only trade execution which we are going to take. In terms of points, 100 points will be somewhere here. All right, let's see how it goes. So right now, if we can manage to break these lows and retrace again into the 13 and get another entry criteria, we can scale in. That will turn the setup into a high probability setup. So for now, let's see what they want to do. So 1630 was, this was the 1630 stock market open. So price started by pushing up, coming back to these highs. Then from here, we started to get a little push down, which needed a little bit of more confirmation. Then we got the pin bar here and the entry. So let's see how far down they can go. For those who still want to understand how I come up with the entries, the first thing is you need to come up with a bias from the higher time frames. And once you get a bias, the next thing you want is a close of the price closing below the 13 EMA. Then after that, you want to go to your entry time frame, which is the 5-minute or the 3-minute, one of those two. Once you come to the 5-minute or the 3-minute, you want to locate one of the famous four candles, which is either a pin bar, a bearish engulfing inside bar, or a doji, which is what we located here and we entered. So this trade is actually running good. I think we have hit TP. I took this trade on my phone. Okay, we haven't hit TP, but we've reached halfway, so your stop loss has to be at the correct point right now. Your stop loss has to be at the correct spot right now. The correct spot is here. For those who are still new, once your price moves halfway towards your target, you want to move your stop loss from here to just inside your trade so that if price decides to come back down, we are not losing anything. And you also want to scale out here. So I've also scaled out on my phone. And I still have one position in here. It's a bit I didn't take it on the prop because gold, I had taken gold. So this one I just decided to take it on the other account. But let's see. So like I said, once you see those candles here, you just want to map your 1:2 or 1:3. We usually go for 1:3 risk to reward. And usually you get a pullback, another entry before price goes to the TP. That's what usually happens, but it's no guarantee. That's why we also want to scale out and move our stop loss to break even because price can do whatever you already know. So yeah, let's see what happens.
Yeah, let's see what happens.
Who else managed to catch that trade? Who else managed to catch the Nasdaq trade? Because earlier we were on gold. Those were in the group. I'm sure you saw the gold setup. So gold, I quickly broke even and I scaled out on the first session we had. Then we finished that session and we started this one. So who else is on this Nasdaq sell? Who else is on the Nasdaq sell? Tell me you guys did not take the trade. Because remember, again, if you're trading, if you get an entry, you do not want to take the sell here. You do not want to enter the trade late because if you enter the trade late, remember our stop loss is outside the range. So if the stop loss is outside the range, based on where our target is, your reward will be this much and your risk will be this much. So this is hustling backwards. So you want to enter right at the exact candlestick which we use for the entry. Okay. At this point, I would call this trade a success. I would definitely call this trade a success. So I'm just going to take a screenshot on my phone so that you guys can see where I entered and exited and the positions which I have. Let's take the screenshot. I'm just going to send it in the community. Okay, I'm going to send this in the community. Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but I am happy with this setup. So we almost on the targets, but I would say so on the setup I shared in the group, you see I had two entries. the first runner, then the second one after I confirmed. Then you can see where I closed the first position. Then I left one, which is almost on TP. So I think, I think, I think, I think, I think that's about it on today's session. I don't know. I'm going to open for questions. Does anyone have questions based on the entries we took, based on how we came up with this bias and this trade and everything? Does anyone have a question? Anybody with a question? Okay, you're confused on the NAS 100 bias. Okay, that's fine. So let me maximize the screen and let me explain the whole thing. So let's go back to the daily. So remember, for your bias, you always want to start on a higher time frame. So if we are looking on the daily right now, we are trading below the 13, right? So automatically that gives us that sell bias. That's number one. Number two, you will look at this particular level, which was broken right here, and price gave this particular candle. Then yesterday we had this huge sell candle. So the bias should be the momentum to the sell side is most likely to continue, right? Most likely, we're talking probabilities. So with that bias, I usually don't use H4 on my analysis. But if you look at H4, you'll see this level was retested. This was today earlier, right? So this is before we even came to the charts. You see that level is tested. So that also increases the bias to potentially go low. Then when you come to your H1, that level on H4 is this one. You see that you've got two equal lows right here. Then we've got this liquidity sweep, which happened during NFP. That's why we don't trade NFP. Rather wait after NFP, you always get a better setup. So initially, remember, we're looking for a potential buy, but we cannot buy until price closes above the 13 EMA, right? So we were still waiting for a trade. So we had a fair value gap in here. So if price had respected the fair value gap, we were going to go along on the basis that prices had retested this level here, and it was going to come back up here. But because the H1 refused to push up, we then realized that price is actually most likely going to sell in relation with the H4 and the daily bias. So you get what I'm saying. So far, are we together? Then after you see these wicks, you always want to see your wicks on the H1 on the 13 EMA, especially with the confluence we have of these equal highs being taken out. That's a liquidity sweep. So as soon as we get that, now we come to M15, and on M15, we are waiting for a close below the 13. When we were looking for a buy, price was here, and we wanted them to close above this order block because at that point, this was the lowest low, right? So we wanted them to close above so that we buy, but they did not do that. So since they did not do that, they showed us that they still want to drop by still coming back and closing below the 13 and coming back below these fair value gaps on M5 and M3. So soon as we got that close now on M15, that's a confirmation of a bias, especially after the liquidity sweep. So your next time frame either has to be M5. You have to look for a nameable candle. So the first thing you want to see is a market structure shift. So we had the first push, price retrace. Second push, we got this break of the structure here. Then price retrace and gave a wick. This would be a variation of a pin bar. So you could have even sold after the close of this sell candle. That's the first scenario. The second scenario would be the one I gave on the 3-minute time frame. So on the 3-minute time frame, I was waiting for one of the four candles, and they gave me a clean pin bar here. So as soon as I got that pin bar, I'm already entering because it's already a bearish pin bar. And I already understand what happened here. NFP is nothing, guys. Don't trade NFP. This, do not trade it. Wait now for price to show you where it wants to go. So we broke below these imbalances, making this an inverted fair value gap. And we got this retest with the pin bar as well. So for me, that's my entry, stop loss above the that same pin bar. And the entry simply has to be either 1:2 or 1:3. So if you see we had a 1:3, price almost really tapped. If you take a closer look, we agreed already that this setup is a success, right? We already agreed on that. So that's how I came up with this setup. I don't know if you is it clear? Whatever I said, is it clear? And basically, this is how I look for all the setups you see me share, guys. This is what I look for. The main thing you want to identify is your higher time frame bias. If you can come up with your daily bias, and if you want to use H4, you can use it for bias as well. But personally, I don't use H4. So once you confirm your bias, then you want H1 to show you the wicks. You need the wicks because the wicks are the stop hunt. This is the whole strategy I'm giving you. Once you see the wicks in the opposite direction to your bias, then you want to go to M15 and wait for the first candle, which closes below the 13 EMA. Once it closes, then you want to jump to M3. Then you wait for this small retracement. This small retracement will either give you a pin bar, a doji, an inside bar, or a bearish engulfing if you are selling. So an inside bar will come like this. It's a smaller candle inside an upper range. Then from here, price will sell. So your stop loss will be here, your entry will be here, and your TP will be 1:3 or 1:2 or 100 points, whichever way you like to trade, because I believe each person might have different exit points. So I don't know, was it understandable? You guys feel free. You can, I think you can, let's see. If you want to unmute yourself, you can just raise your hand there. Then I'll give you the option to speak if you want to speak. I'm about to round up this session because we're already done. Do we have any questions? Any questions, guys? These are the things you want to see. You want to see a liquidity sweep. Once you get your bias and everything, you want to see your liquidity sweep on your time frame of entry. You want to see a market structure shift. You want to see a fair value gap retest. Um, you want to see a fair value gap retest. You want a nameable. Let me just say famous four, because if you're already in the community, you know what we mean. Famous four is just one of the four candlesticks we use for entry. Like I said, it's the pin bar, the doji, engulfing bar, and the what else? Inside bar. So you want to see the famous four. And if everything I've mentioned here is happening right on the 13 EMA, that right there is a setup which you should not miss. That's a setup which you should not miss. So all these things I've listed here, you need to see them on your entry time frame. If your entry time frame is M15, you need to identify this pattern on the M15. But the only thing with the M15 is you might have to hold your trade a little bit longer. I use the M3 because I want to be in and out my trade within my trading session. I don't want to sit the whole like 6 hours on the chart waiting for a trade. I just want to be in and out. What's my analysis on German 40? Okay, let's see German 40. right? So German 40, like I said, in the morning, I wasn't sure of what they wanted to do, but I think I did a video. It's already on YouTube, so I won't speak much on that. So this level then got broken here and retested. But at the same time, price is being held by this level, which is also a 50% fib retracement point, right? So from this low to this high, this is the low of this week. This is the high of this week. So if price is going to do this, it means if we run a fib, price had to retrace into one of these areas. So before we buy though, we still want price to show us that it's actually buying. Because today, if you notice, this is a downtrend for the day. It hasn't yet started to show us that it's actually a bullish trend. So until it shows us a bullish trend, I prefer to wait. Why am I waiting? Because this downtrend can simply continue, maybe come back to the 61.8, maybe come back to this point of interest which we marked here, maybe come back to these lows. So we don't know what will happen until it happens. So based on the current market price, probably maybe if you could potentially start looking for a potential sell back into this area or a buy if we break back above this area. So I would say those are the two things to wait for if you are looking on German 40. If you want to do the high time frame analysis, I think I also touched on it in the earlier video. The reason you would want to sell is because price took out liquidity here, here. So chances are in the morning I was anticipating a pullback into the 13 EMA. So remember, as long as we are above, we are bullish. So I was looking for this pullback into the 13 EMA. So right now it looks like it's the one which happened, which is why I'm getting ready for a potential buy. But for me to buy, H1 has to give me a close. Right now, what's the time? Let's see. 17:49. So in 11 minutes, the H1 is going to close. If the H1 closes above the 13 EMA, then I'm going to have a bullish bias. Once I have that bullish bias, I'm now going to come to M15. And when I come to M15, I already see that I had this close above the 13, which means if it's a bullish move, this is the first impulsive move showing us that we want to go up. So if this becomes the first impulsive move, then price has to potentially retrace back into the 13. And once we get there, I'm looking for a nameable candle. So either a pin bar, as you can see here on this sell move, we had nice candles. Here we had a bearish engulfing. Here we had a pin bar. Here we had a pin bar. And this was NFP, which we don't trade. So if we do get this move, which I've mentioned, if we are coming up and we retrace and I get a nameable candle, soon as it closes, the next time frame I'm going to go on is the 3 minute for my entry, either the 3 minutes or the 5 minutes. But again, before all that happens, the H1 has to close above the 13 EMA. Because now, if it doesn't close above the 13 EMA, it will mean this could be a stop hunt, which was taking out these highs, these highs, these highs. And price might still want to be bearish in line with this intraday sell trend, which has been happening. So that's where the importance of usually waiting for the H1 comes in. Then from this low, you also see we have an order block here, which has been broken. So a break of order block and a close above the 13 EMA is going to highly signal the potential of a buy. So we are open to getting a buy. We are open to getting a short-term sell. The only determining factor here will be the H1 close. And other factors, of course, you need to still wait for M15 to see if they'll give you that retracement with a nameable candle. So I don't know if you answered there on the German 40. And also based on time, it might also be wise to trade at PM session New York time. Why I'm saying so is because we are having like I said, we've got fundamental events coming now. We've got some fundamental events coming. Okay, so today we've got 10 minutes left, guys. If anyone else still has a question, we've got the Fed monetary policy coming up at 6 p.m., which is just now, 6 p.m. GMT plus 2. That's in 8 minutes from now. So we are expecting volatility in any direction. We've got Jerome Powell speaking at 7:30 p.m. GMT plus 2. We're expecting more volatility at that point. We also have Trump speaking at 8:30 p.m. GMT plus 2. This is 30 minutes inside the PM session. So if you want to trade PM session, I think I might be on charts, so maybe we can take a look at just what price will be doing. Maybe we might get a setup, maybe we might not. But this is for anyone who hasn't caught any trade. I asked earlier, did anyone manage to catch the Nasdaq sell? So yeah, based on those news events, I wouldn't want to take an entry right now. I would rather wait for PM session. After all the weeks and the stop hunts have finished, after the price has decided where it wants to go, that's where you actually get the best setup without any fear of a spike or a funny stop hunt. Same applies to everything. Anything related with the dollar right now, the best trades will be PM session. GJ has been choppy since yesterday. I believe we spoke about GJ a little bit. You can see there's nothing happening here. The best trade on GJ will only come if price comes out of this level. Maybe this is a liquidity point, so we might sell from here. We might also buy from here. We might break and retest and sell. We might break and retest and buy. But the best setups will originate are outside this range. Excuse me. So yeah, UJ, we took out liquidity on the bottom side. It looks like we could actually close off the day by going long. Anyone who's trading UJ. Gold, for now, I'm not sure what they want to do because we are right on. Okay, we marked these levels the other day. We took out liquidity here. Oh, I didn't notice this. The buy we had, we were supposed to pay attention to that level. We're supposed to actually exit right at the top. So right now, price can potentially come to the bottom of the range, this particular range here. It's also possible, but it's not something which I'm actively trading at the moment. I don't think I'll take any more trade. I might take a trade at PM session. I might still trade. But at this point in time, let's rather wait for these guys to speak. EU guys, this EU sell, we've been talking about this sell for a long time now. I've been mentioning these points of interest we had here and price got to all those levels. Those who trade EU, I hope you took this. Right, US 30 again, rather wait for these three gentlemen to finish speaking or two gentlemen to finish speaking. Then we might get a setup. So again, you can see this is a point of interest based on these lows. This is a point of interest. So if we get any buy setup here, price is definitely coming up here. Definitely. So I hope it happens at the PM session when we are there and not right now when these guys are speaking, but we'll see what happens. That Nasdaq, again, we'll wait for these guys to finish speaking and we'll see it a bit later on. German 40, we've already spoken about this. So if you're trading right now, I'll just advise you, just mark your charts if you want to mark your charts, but don't trade because price might disappoint you with these fundamental events coming. But apart from that, thank you so much for joining, guys. I don't know if there's still anyone with a question before we close this off. During the PM session, I'm not sure if I'm going to have a live or I'll just be communicating in the community group. I don't know. I'll see how I'll be feeling by that time. If I'm not too tired, I'm going to host a live session. So anyone with a question? Those who always say seeing is believing. So for the setups we took, okay, I don't know what I just did to my chat now. Okay. For the setups we took and the ones I mentioned, you will see my entries and my exits in the group. I'll just send them now. Nasdaq is actually looking like it wants to continue selling if you are paying attention to it. Because I see something on the smaller time frames. See, we got that inside bar right there, but I wouldn't trade it now because of the fundamental events. The fundamental events don't respect patterns, or these patterns on smaller time frames. They don't respect them at all. So rather wait, but potentially price could still sell. So this would be an inside bar. In normal circumstances, if we do not have the news events coming, you would sell here, stop loss here, and your TP would be at the low, which was created earlier. So it would most likely give you a 1:2 risk to reward ratio trade. You can just mark it and just watch it for now and see how it plays out. So, guys, if there's no questions, thank you so much for joining. Next week, I'll be sure to drop another free live session for you. I'll be sure to drop maybe once a week. But if you're in the mentorship or if you took the course, these sessions are daily. The live trading sessions are daily. So thank you so much for joining. You're welcome. You're welcome, my bro. Thank you for making time to join. Right. Let's have a good evening and have a safe weekend. Enjoy the rest of your day. Good trading.